Well, well, today I wanted to discuss one of my favorite trilogies of movies and stuff like that, of series, which is the Evil Dead series. Starting with the first movie. This one's actually kind of an interesting story, really, when you know the history of it. Sam Raimi wrote this after getting the idea while at school, them talking about the Book of the Dead. The most interesting thing about it was that the company that was releasing the movie released the movie at theaters and on VHS at the same time. Just very strange and unheard of way of thinking of things, but in this day and age, we get straight to digital things, and then there was also straight to DVD in the early 2000s. Not too crazy, especially with how things were in 2020. We were getting movies released at streaming services and at the movie theater so people could enjoy them. Now, this introduces us to Bruce Campbell. Great actor. He's very, very underrated. Has such range. Could have done like so much more in his life. But in this one, you got your practical effects. It's got some. It takes itself a lot more serious than like really any of the other movies. But this one's really good. Start to the series. It grabs your attention. It goes through it. How can you like not really enjoy this very much? Now the second movie. This one's took them a bit harder to get to going, this one. He had to convince the studio to let him make it. And then the majority of the movie was shot in a high school gymnasium, which is even more crazier of a thing to think about. But with that being said, this one pretty much takes place right at the beginning of where the first movie left off, which is very good. For what I know of this, Bruce got hit in the face with so much more over the top things. But as you watch this one, you can see how the series kind of went down this different track with trying to stay a horror movie. It started getting in little goofy things like the stuff laughing at him. Bruce just constantly gets splattered in the face. But great stuff. Wonderful movie. Not very much I can really say. I was like, it sets up for the next movie, which is probably looked at one of the most weirdest ones out of them, because it just went straight to it, which is Army of the Darkness. Now, this is the only one that was actually released by a big studio at the time, which would have been Universal, which probably still has somewhat of a hold on it. But I could not imagine how much Sam had to get on these guys to let him even make this movie. This one has probably like the most quotes you'll ever have in the movie whatsoever. You go up to somebody that's seen this, they will say any and every line they could think of. They'll give you the line, "You ain't leading but two things, Jack and shit, and Jack left town." You'll get lines like, "I'm badass and you're good ass. You're good little tissues." Great lines. Make you feel right at home with such a movie. But it kind of killed the franchise because Universal expected it to do more, and it really didn't. But that doesn't say very much because great franchises don't have to be really successful at the box office. They stand the test of time, which makes them even better because they're cult classics. Now over here I got some variations of the first two movies that were released. This is the only way I've ever seen these come out, which is they don't really make novelty awesome cases like this no more. But these were what they did for on DVD, which were Book of Flesh versions. They're so nice, beautiful. As an Evil Dead fan, you could just love this. And are these hard to probably come by in this day and age? Yeah. Yeah. Get yourself a little book thing here in the back. This looks awesome. And you get your DVD in the last page. Then it's just all skin. These ones are probably come a lot harder to come by because once you've opened it and they sit out and they sit on the shelf, they start to tear down on the edges. Does it make you upset? Yeah, but it is what it is. It's wear and tear. Do I hate this because of this? No. It's a great series. Even a great case. Now, the second one kind of shows all the same stuff, but the second one used to have a button here that would scream. Of course, that's going to go out. This was made in the early 2000s, so there's no way the battery is going to be good in this thing. It's probably expired really bad. But you get the same similar stuff, so you can get the feel for each of these. Now, this one I've probably sat and watched the special features on more, and hearing that like Sam wants to know if they have any of this footage or anything like that. So from like what was missing, what didn't make the cutting, what got left on the cutting room floor. Which just says to people that, you know, if you're going to make a movie, you're going to shoot something, you might want to save the things because you'll never know. You might want to release a director's cut. You might want to release the footage. So, the guys who made the movies, I'm sorry. All the work you guys put in and the stuff you've lost. Now over here, you got all of them on the Blu-ray. Now, these, I technically didn't buy these. A friend of mine upgraded his collection to the 4K stuff. So, he decided to part ways with them and he offered them to me. And I told him, sure, I'll take them. Because I wasn't really going to plan on buying these again with having these. No matter how bad the cases look. But, fortunately, we get pretty much all the same featurettes. We just get a little bit more content here on the second one again. Because, well, the second one, they really freaking had a lot to talk about because this one did succeed enough for this one still to be made. Now this is the Screwhead edition, where as like probably the one you would want to look for that was an awesome collector's thing was the Hail to the King edition on DVD. Came with a metal case and all that stuff. But this guy right here, you get the alternate ending to it. It's great. I don't own anything past these ones because I know you can get, what is it, the Arrowheads or Criterion Collection ones, where you can get the different versions would actually have the TV spots things of deleted scenes that were put into the movie. That kind of, like, you could say that they were bad, but at the same time, it just added more to the movie. But this franchise just continued on here. They have comic books out. This is probably like the latest one for Army of Darkness Forever. Spawn's great stuff. Got our Evil Dead video game series. I've played almost every single one of the Evil Dead games, but this is technically the only one I own of a physical copy of it. This was kind of late in the PlayStation era when PlayStation 2 was coming in, so this was probably looked at by Evil Dead fans. Was received enough so that freaking THQ continued to make other games on PlayStation 2, and then we didn't get anything until the Evil Dead game on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One generation. Now, here's some fan art that I happened to pick up at a convention I was at. Guy really captured everything here. Nice. Dirty. Great. But the dagger, which was only used, technically, was brought back into the TV show, but was only really shown in the first movie. So after that was kind of just written off. But you have your number 2 chainsaw. We got the cabin. The guy just did great work here. Well, unfortunately, I forgot to grab certain things. Such as the Evil Dead remake. Now, you could say what you want about remakes. This kind of grabbed what Evil Dead could have been from the original one, because they really wanted to make a horror movie. And what did they do here? They went all out. They kept it in the cabin. They did what they needed to do. They just went straight for it. Is there callbacks to the original one? Yes, they got the camera chasing it. Is it delivered very well? I remember watching this at the movie theater and walking out with other Evil Dead friends that were like, this was great. It was awesome. It was a wonderful movie. The one guy sitting down that isn't an Evil Dead fan was sitting there smoking a cigarette and kind of going like, this is disgusting. I can't believe we watched this. Which, this really isn't disgusting. If you want to watch disgusting, watch the Terrifier trilogy. But they keep to this stuff. Fidel Arvelez, he does a wonderful job keeping it all right there, giving you grotesque, making you feel that he appreciated what Sam was doing, and he wanted to get us all back there again. And a nice little cameo thing at the end with Bruce at the end of the whole credits saying groovy. Gotta love it. And this is the most recent of all Evil Deads, Evil Dead Rises. Now, this was talked about originally even more crazy about this one was originally that it wasn't going to go to theaters. It was technically just going to be on an HBO Max original, which I could have seen that happening, but it didn't. This one literally just wants to expand the universe of Evil Dead and give us its own little thing, heyway into things. Like, as opposed to there being the actual book, this one is actually recorded of them of on a record, like even older, and stating that there's multiple of the Necronomicon Ex Mortis to exist in the world. Does it set up for an even more expanding universe? Does it pretty much almost eliminate every single person in it? Oh, it does. I went to this and saw this one at the theater as well. It's a great, wonderful movie. And it just kind of takes tropes that were Evil Dead and keeps them there to try and keep you in the world of Evil Dead. And it does. The most interesting thing about these movies is the fact that technically they're released by almost every studio you could think of. You got Warner Brothers. You got Sony. You got Universal Studios over here. These ones, even going all the way back to the VHSs, which these are kind of released now by Lionsgate, but going back to the era of the VHSs, they're released by Anchor Bay. Each one of these. Even with the Universal one here, they have Anchor Bay attached to it, stating that they were one of those companies that wanted to keep media alive to pass on to the generations that came, which they really have. They've tried their hardest. They're not so much around that I've seen very much anymore. Now we have more of like Shout Factory doing that for us. But Evil Dead has a deep part in my life. It's probably also the reason why I became a big Resident Evil fan, because this genre was so good, with so horror things, and just over the top. I really don't know how much I can go into depth on these things, because from my point of view, they were great movies. Which one would I say is my favorite? That would have to be Army of Darkness. I got my mother, before she passed away, to actually watch the movie, just because she didn't know that the movie would be funny and stuff like that. And in reality, it really kind of does. It just goes right into it. Leans right into that comedy to slap you in the face and keep you going. Nothing wrong with that. Would I recommend watching these movies? Yes. I recommend you watching anything and giving it a shot in life. Because why would you want to take advice from somebody when you have your own thoughts and your own opinions out there? Really is, all you can really do is hear what somebody has to say about something. You can disagree or agree with them, or you could just not care to watch it, not do anything.